Boom. All right. We are live. What's up, guys?
Boom. What's up, guys and girls?
Actually, let me double check the mic to make sure it's... Okay, that's working. Cool.
I know, right? I did that the other day, too. I don't know what was happening. What is happening, folks? Good to be back here at The Virus, episode 17.
17.
Trucking our way towards 20. 20.
Yeah. You know what I did? Here, I'll be right back. I switched this light last night.
What's that?
It's facing more straight.
Oh, okay.
And I did that for my drawing.
Oh, okay.
I was trying to shine, because I was like, when I was taking pictures of it, it was like shining, or like my shadow was in the picture.
Yeah.
So I shined the light directly on it, so I didn't have that problem.
Nice, dude.
Yeah.
Well, shine on, man. Well, yeah, good to be here. Glad you guys are joining us. Feel free to chime in with some questions, topics, reviews, whatever's on your mind, and feel free to chime in with what we're talking about as well. So we got a few places for you to find us on. You want to tell them?
Yeah, I'm gonna try to go off the cuff. So
All
you can catch our streams, the audio versions on Spotify and Apple. And then you can get our live streams on YouTube, Twitch, and Facebook. And then you can get our updates on Twitter and Instagram.
Sweet. Yeah, and we just noticed we just shared a couple Facebook posts, and for some reason it's only sharing the Twitch link, which was really weird. So we'll try to fix that and see what's going on with that. But
Yeah, that's obnoxious.
yeah, you know, there's always technical difficulties. I feel like those things just
We've been doing that for 17 episodes. Didn't realize.
No, I don't think it's been doing that the whole time. I'll have to go back, but I swear it's the first time I've noticed it.
I was trying to share it on my phone because it was showing me that it was trying to do that on the phone, where it was just trying to share the Twitch link, and I was like, nah. And so I did it on my Facebook, and I thought that it shared it properly, but it still did it incorrectly.
doing it, huh?
Yeah.
I don't know. We'll figure it out. Like I said, it seems like the technical difficulty world is endlessly getting smoothed out.
Yeah, it is what it is.
But that's life. But yeah, like I said, glad to be here. Glad you guys are with us. I got a few little things I wrote down to talk about.
Oh yeah, she came up with some stuff, huh?
Yeah, just, you know, it's funny because I actually just wrote down some random stuff to talk about in the last few hours, really.
Yeah. Well, you know, I think the thing is like, it's kind of, the world has kind of slowed down the last few weeks. I think that's why we don't really have that many topical things to talk about.
What's going on?
You know what I mean? Like the kind of protest thing kind of died down. COVID is still kind of just trucking along, doing its thing. You know, there's nothing really new to talk about. You know.
Yeah, but there is always something to talk about.
There's always something to talk about. I'm just saying there's nothing like newsworthy to be like, did you hear about that? There are some UFC fights tonight, though.
Who?
I don't know. We can look them up. I mean,
pay-per-view then?
Yeah.
Interesting.
That girl, Rose, what is it, Namajunas or whatever? Remember the one that was like had the shaved head that got knocked out by getting slammed? Yeah. She was fighting tonight.
Oh, nice, dude. I'd be interested to see her. Yeah, that photo.
Oh, Masvidal versus Usman is tonight.
No way. Holy shit.
Yeah,
I was actually going to talk about Jorge Masvidal. That's what I was going to talk about.
Starting right now, actually.
Damn.
Jose Aldo's fighting.
Dude, that's a good fight too.
I don't know. I know Max Holloway.
Kamaru, is it Kamari or Kamaru? Kamara Usman and Masvidal is a really good fight, man. Those are both really good fighters. That's fucking crazy good card right there.
Yeah. Rose Namajunas versus what's this girl's name? Jessica Andrade.
Okay, I've never heard of her.
I've seen her before. Is this a rematch? Is that the same girl that knocked her out?
That'd be good.
Kind of looks like
That'd be good, man.
Looks like it.
That was such an upset of a win, man. I mean, good on. I mean, credit goes to the girl who got the win, but Rose Namajunas definitely did a well-rounded display.
Dude, she was dominating that fight too.
Yeah, I mean, she really did. She really had like the full package when I noticed her fighting. I was like, damn, dude, she's doing a good job of keeping her away. She's not really getting taken down. They're striking. She's connecting. Yeah. It's like, Jesus Christ. But then you never know, man. It's fighting.
Slammed on her fucking head.
Fighting is one of those sports where it just takes one slip up. It just takes one good connection. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
You could be the best in the business, but if you get caught, as they say, that's all it takes, man.
Those are kind of the most interesting fights. I mean, not really like interesting on a technical level or like a competitive level, but just crazy seeing that like someone totally in control and then they like get clocked one time and they're like dazed and stumbling. You're like, oh shit.
You're like, wow, I did not see that coming. Yeah. And it is always the unexpected that gets you, just in anything in life, whether you're fighting or whether you're, having a good day and then something happens out of nowhere. It's always unexpected, and that's what fucks you up and just derails your whole day.
Yeah.
Basically, you can look at that as being a KO as well.
I guess we just like structure as humans, We like things to be predictable and structured.
Exactly. We crave predictability, man. That's why it's good to kind of recognize that. Put yourself in an uncomfortable situation, because what's weird about that is we crave predictability, but there's no growth in that. Yeah. Isn't that ironic? What does that say about us?
I mean, there can be kind of predictability or growth in predictability,
but not near as much as adversity.
Yeah,
just that's a fact.
mean, if you're like, I'm gonna go through my day and I'm gonna work hard every day towards like my goal or whatever. I mean, you have like a predictable what's gonna go on in your life for the most part. I mean, you could still kind of grow, I guess. Maybe not like introspective growth, but you could still grow, like go somewhere. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I'm not saying it's completely counterproductive. I'm just saying there's way more growth in adversity because, well, there's a lot of ways to look at it. The most obvious reason is that adversity is life. And we just talked about this. Unexpected shit is life. You're never going to live in a world where everything's predictable. So if you're going to try to plan your day and hope things are going to be predictable, you're just setting yourself up for disappointment.
Yeah.
And then you're not even readying yourself for those moments that fucking just jab punch you in the gut. You're like, oh my God, what is this? I was not expecting this. And so that's what I mean. It's like the main limited growth topic when you're talking about predictability versus uncomfortable and getting in that uncomfort zone. Basically, there's just not near as much growth. You could definitely grow in predictability setting, but there's just much more to learn and much more to improve on when you go through adversity and you fail. You know what I mean? You can't fail on predictability much.
I agree. I just like being devil's advocate,
Yeah, no, I know. That's what brings out great conversations too.
Yeah.
No, I appreciate that. And again, that kind of goes back to people that are emotionally unintelligent, or they let their emotions override having a logical conversation and a grown-up adult conversation.
Yeah.
They just assume, I don't know, they might equate with whatever you're saying as your viewpoint necessarily, you know what I mean? And you really can't do that, especially if you don't even know that individual. It's really hard to do that and be accurate, especially if you just don't know that person. I mean, if you know this person, whether they're a family member or whatever, and then you hear something like that and you might get an understanding of like, oh, okay, I know this person, that's definitely him. But obviously me and you, we know like that we're trying to have conversations, and I don't put any thought into whether or not that's your viewpoint on things that you say, and I hope you don't do that. It doesn't seem like you do that for me either.
No.
So I'm the same way. I like to have conversations, and do that you got to ask tough questions. You got to ask thought-provoking questions.
Yeah, but I think it's really easy to just kind of go into like this echo chamber, I guess, kind of where we're both saying the same thing, and we're just kind of like, yeah, totally. So sometimes I like to just be like, well, you could do it this way, you know what I mean? So
yeah, no, great point. I mean, like I said, you can't have it's not really interesting as conversation if we're just agreeing on everything, because like you said, I like to ask the questions that are like from someone else's point of view. You know what I mean? You probably heard me ask like Will and Jake questions to where, like, well, what would you say to the person that said, you know what I mean? That's exactly where I'm coming from. Like, there's people out there that think this way. What would you say to this statement that they're saying? Type of shit. I'm trying to put myself in their shoes.
Yeah.
And sometimes I'll put myself in my own shoes as well. But for the most part, it's not black and white. I like to also create conversation that's intriguing, not so fucking mundane. But yeah, it's good stuff. So let's see. Let's start working down some of this randomness.
You kind of wrote like a decent list there.
Yeah. So while we're talking about UFC, me and you are big into UFC. We like it. I like fighters. I like fighting. I really appreciate the sport. That we want to talk about a sport with adversity. I really appreciate that sport because, you know, a lot of sports are like that too. But it feels like MMA is the ultimate sport on where you're fighting yourself. You know what I mean? You're not really fighting the fighter. You're fighting yourself, and you're fighting your mind. You're training yourself.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, like, I get what you're saying, but also, like, if you're kind of on the same mental page as someone else, it could be, like, if they're just stronger, they could still just beat you, though. You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely. Strength is definitely... it's helpful.
Of course, there's weight classes for that reason. Though,
yeah,
so.
I mean, we don't really see much where there's mixed match weight classes anymore. I don't know if they do that. I know they did back in the day.
Yeah, I don't think so.
Just for entertainment purposes, you know, it was nice to see David and Goliath.
Yeah, but you can be different levels of strength at the same weight, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Depending on your muscle mass and your bone mass and all that water weight and all that bullshit.
But being in the same weight class, the difference is
very small.
Exactly. It's not an astronomical difference where it's like one-sided. It's like, oh wait, okay.
I was just thinking of what's his name, Justin Gaethje, man. That dude hits like a fucking truck, dude.
Yeah.
What weight class? That was like 155, wasn't it?
Was it?
I think so.
I don't really know. But both those dudes were really hitting pretty solid. And of course, with it being quiet with no audience there, it really resonated to the sound and the impact.
I like that more. I hope they're doing that with
probably
this UFC because that would be cool. I actually want to watch some of these fights.
I definitely want to see. So
I was to say. So who do you think, or who are you rooting for?
I'm rooting for Masvidal. I'm a Masvidal fan.
I'm rooting for Usman.
But I like Usman too. Usman's a really good fighter, and he's got a really good personality. So does Jorge Masvidal, though. You give him a lot of shit.
I just don't like his personality, so that's why I'm rooting against him.
I think you got a bad video with him because I actually just watched a few different videos with him. The dude's very humble.
Is he?
Oh, absolutely. I don't understand what video you've seen.
He was on the Joe Rogan. You know, does everyone on the Joe Rogan Experience just like
posture?
Yeah, I swear to God, dude. Because I've also seen Justin Gaethje on there kind of posture. Remember we were talking about?
Yes, you're right.
Do all the fighters just posture on there?
Probably because I seen Grant Cardone talking to him. Who else did I see? God, he was talking to a couple people. And
Joe Rogan, what are you doing? You're bringing out the worst in people.
But yeah, no, man, I like Masvidal. He's got a real humble life approach, life view. He's a business guy. He's not just a fight. Like he's done, you know, some smart investment moves rather than just being the fighter that just spends their money and doesn't really think about their future and shit. Kind of just rides it for the shelf life that it is, and doesn't really think about their future. So I like him for that aspect too, man. He's really put a lot of thought into his family. And setting them up with stuff, you know what I mean, for the long term, because he realizes there's a shelf life with this sport, as there is with any sport.
Oh yeah, yeah.
But yeah, to answer your question, dude, I like them both. They're both got a good. They seem like both very solid individuals, and they're both good fighters. So that's why it's a good fight.
Masvidal has a lot of wins, dude. 35 wins.
That's crazy. Nah, he's really good. So does Kamaru's got a good record too, though.
16-1.
I mean, that's a good fucking record.
Yeah. Yeah, Masvidal has a lot more losses, but I mean, he has a lot more wins too. He has over twice the amount of wins.
Yeah.
I don't know how many of those are UFC because I'm pretty sure, like we were seeing before, is like their MMA.
Yeah.
So it's like they could also be their like semi-pro records mixed in there with it. So
I was trying to think like who's my fucking current favorite fighter right now, and I couldn't decide if it was Masvidal. I was trying to put him up against something, but Masvidal is definitely one of them right now. In current time. I also like Dustin Poirier, however you pronounce it.
Poirier.
Is it Poirier?
Yeah.
I like him a lot too. I like his striking.
I haven't seen that much of him. Did he fight McGregor?
Maybe. He definitely got beat by Khabib.
Oh,
I
okay.
hated seeing that fight. I was like, fuck, dude.
Is Khabib your least favorite fighter?
Just for entertaining purposes. I mean, no disrespect to the guy. He's definitely won. He's
Oh, I
got-
remember the name of that. Sorry, I remember the name of that fighter. I just remember that. I was like, remember that big black guy? That's sounds racist. He's
Careful,
like
we're living in a world where people are reaching right now.
he's heavyweight, so he's big and he's black. Okay, Alistair.
Alistair Overeem?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Because we were talking about fighters you didn't like or fighters you thought were boring or something. Because we were talking about Khabib.
He was one of them, yeah. He actually came from... Well, I seen him in Pride Fighting more than anything.
Okay.
So Alistair Overeem was in Pride Fighting, and when I seen him, he just didn't have any... I didn't care for his fighting. It was very unimpressive.
I think his fighting is interesting because he just like lets them gas out. Basically.
Is that what it was?
Yeah, I mean he's like slow hard puncher, you know what I mean? And he always just like sits there and like just lets them like wear themselves out, and then he's just like, and then he just beats them, and it's like whatever.
He just absorbs as much as he can,
Yeah.
and then taps into the reserves.
Yeah, I like that he's like not emotional about fighting either. They were like talking about after his most recent fight. And they're like, oh, blah, 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 like trying to do like the politics kind of thing. And he's like, I don't know, it's just a sport. It's just a job for me, you know? So I just come here and I just fight and do my thing. And then.
I think maybe I'm getting him confused with someone else. Maybe he just has the same... Is it really Alistair Overeem?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Alistair Overeem.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's him.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Didn't he get his jaw broke, or he broke someone's jaw?
I don't know. He's Dutch. What?
There was someone... Yeah, he's got an accent. Big time. Doesn't he? As far as I remember.
Dude, I'm pretty bad with accents. I think it's because I watch so much like foreign stuff, you know, like
Former Strike Force heavyweight, huh? Oh, Strike Force. That's the different company, MMA company.
Mm.
Kind of like God, I can't even think of the name of them now.
Dude, it's pretty impressive. He's 40. He's still fighting.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
So, it says he's Dutch, but he's United Kingdom.
So, yeah, again, I was trying to think of my favorite fighter, and I guess I would have to say it is fucking Jorge Masvidal right now.
Really? Huh.
Yeah, in that weight class for sure. Yeah, I don't know. I like the dude, and I like his fighting style. I like his attitude. As far as females go, I have a new fucking... Well, she's already definitely been on my radar and highly liked, but I think I'm gonna officially crown her as my new favorite fucking female fighter, and that's Valentina Shevchenko.
I'm so bad with fighters' names. Like not even just the female ones, the male ones too.
Yeah. Very fucking solid, man. I'm just highly impressed with everything I see about her. I follow her Instagram.
Who are the top female fighters right now? There's like Nunez.
Amanda Nunez, definitely Shevchenko.
Right.
And they fought once too, and I think Amanda Nunez got the decision on that, and that's a rematch that needs to happen. That's really highly anticipated.
Mm-hmm.
I'm really curious to see how that one unfolds, man, because again, I'm a huge Amanda Nunez fan too, but as far as well-rounded fighters, Shevchenko has it, dude. Like, she's got so many fighting styles under her belt.
Mm-hmm.
And she's got they're saying she's got over 500 fucking fights in her life.
Who's the girl that knocked that one girl out like super hard with that kick? Do you remember that?
That's Shevchenko.
Oh,
yeah.
okay, yeah. So then, I do like her. Yeah.
She has a spinning back kick that she does that I've seen her just TKO people with. It hits them and they're just like, tapping out.
Dude, that fucking kick to the face is one of the most brutal knockouts
She's got
I've
a couple
seen.
of those too.
Yeah,
Them
dude.
high kicks like that.
Mm-hmm.
She does the spinning back fist. I've seen her do that. Like,
you know what? Those don't look like they would hurt as much as they do. You know,
Yeah.
because they obviously do hurt, but watching them, they just look silly. You know what I mean?
they do look silly.
They don't look like they would actually hurt. It looks
And
like
the placement's got to be good.
Mhm.
Matter of fact, the only spinning back fists that I've seen Shevchenko do was like what would you call that? Split second thinking, where it was not calculated. They're in the middle of a fucking a mix of fighting, and then maybe on the way out she does it or something. It's just like quickly thought out and executed. And when those happen, it's more tasteful and it's more applicable that way. Whereas you're standing there and then you calculate it and do a spinning back fist, it's a little more like, you're kind of swinging for the fences there.
Do they hit him with the actual back of the hand?
I think so, but they're not really. I don't think they're really focused on the hand. Even if they hit in this general area, I think it's probably still a good hit.
I was just saying, because like, I feel like this part's pretty easy to break the bones in your hand. So I don't know if it's like a good idea to be like hitting someone hard with the back of your hand. They must be like knuckles or wrist or something when they do it, because
they got pads too, I think, on the back.
Yeah, I know. It's just like those bones there are so exposed.
Yeah. That shit does hurt when you get hit on the top of your hand like that.
Yeah.
But
I don't think I would want to knock someone out with the back of my hand.
But yeah, I really enjoy watching her fight. And then, like I said, on her Instagram, I watched this whole montage of her fights when she was like, 10 years old or whatever till now. And she's just like ruthless, dude.
That's crazy.
It's like, holy shit, this chick's been fighting her whole life. And ironically, she's actually in Washington. I've been seeing her do posts of her in Bremerton, her over here, over there.
Is she from the area? Her name doesn't
They're
sound
Russian, I think. I think she's Russian.
There's some. What's her first name?
Valentina Shevchenko right there. Sounds Russian.
She's definitely born
Peruvian. Is that Russia?
Born. So that's like her ethnicity is Peruvian, like, but she's from. I'm pretty sure this is Russia. Wait.
Yeah, I would never know. Bishkek,
actually,
capital of Kyrgyzstan.
Kyrgyzstan is actually a country, I think. Actually.
Oh, okay.
Okay, it is. I thought it was like a province of Russia. Where is this on the map? That's what I want to know.
Yeah, she's got a hard accent.
It's got to be close to Russia.
Yeah, it definitely has to be, huh?
Okay, it's like interesting. It's not on the side of Russia that I was thinking. How do you? How? Oh, I have to use 3 fingers. Okay, so it's like on the like.
Is that like Ukraine area?
No, Ukraine's over here.
Oh yeah.
So it's like on the other side of the continent, basically, of Russia. It's
nice.
It's kind of close to like the Middle East, Afghanistan, Iraq.
Pretty close to Afghanistan. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, there you have it.
It's right on the border of China.
Yeah, I didn't expect that. That she was. That's close to Russia, but
it's actually not even Russia technically. There's Kazakhstan in between. Yeah.
That it's a small little country too.
What do they speak Russian though? That's why it looks Russian. I mean, we're just like offending everyone.
Yeah, right. But yeah, she does have a thick accent. But yeah, I don't know where she's from, but apparently she's got because she was in Anacortes. She's all over this area right now, and I was like, hit her up. I was like, hey, love to have you on the podcast.
She's like, go fuck yourself.
Right? How many other dudes have hit her up for that? I see other people's posts are like, come to the training center here, or yada yada yada. So yeah, I'm sure she's getting blown up wherever she goes.
Yeah.
But yeah, that chick definitely my favorite female fighter right now, and yeah.
I definitely want to watch this. I want to see Rose Namajunas fight again because I've only seen the one fight, I think.
Oh really?
So
yeah, I'd like to see.
She seems pretty impressive. So
absolutely. I'd like to see her fight and then check out that Masvidal Usman fight. Man, that's really good. I didn't even know Usman was the same weight class as Masvidal. Masvidal looks so tiny.
Welterweight, is that 170?
Is it really? There's no way. Masvidal.
Yeah, 170.
Masvidal doesn't look 170. That's crazy.
Really? I would have thought that he was like, oh, he's 5'9"?
Yeah, he just does not look like he's that big.
I didn't realize he was 5'9". That's shorter than me. That's interesting. I thought he was like 5'11", 6 foot or something. Because I thought he was like 180.
He just has a little bit more mass in it than that's deceiving to the eye. Because yeah, he doesn't really look muscular or built. So it's interesting to find out that he's 5'9", 170. I just can't tell that by looking at him.
Let's see. Usman's 3 inches taller. Has a 2-inch reach advantage. That's not very much though. 2 inches is like that. So
Yeah.
I guess that could be a knockout difference though. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You get that close to someone's face, but they actually hit you. I mean,
Absolutely, especially the type of fighting style, you know, that could make a bit of a difference if there's a lot of jabbing going on, for sure.
it's interesting. Jose Aldo is going at 135.
That's like my size, dude. That's like right in my area.
Yeah. Yeah, man. It could have been you.
Yeah, without the training.
They're way short. They're 5'6".
Yeah, they are.
Makes sense.
There's just little guys like me.
I think he lost him when he lost McGregor. It was at 145 because I think he used to be the featherweight champ.
Nice.
Yeah.
Well, we'll check that out. We'll give you guys our review. I don't know if we'll get to it on next Wednesday because we're gonna have a guest in, but we'll follow it up on next week. But either way, we will look at it. They're also coming out with a new UFC game, dude. Another video game. I don't really play those games, but my buddy Little Josh, man, he would have loved that. He's completely into those type of games. Me and him used to play it a lot, and it's so cool because how realistic they are now. You know, and the grappling and shit. You can grab the other person's wrist and press a button or whatever, get them off, and like there's so much technical things to do on the game.
I don't know, man. I think that when games get that technical, they kind of suck. But that's my perspective. You ever played Skate?
No, I haven't.
Skate is basically where you can control the feet with the different joysticks.
Seen that. That looks confusing.
I mean, and it's kind of cool, but like it's not as much fun, I think, as the fast pacedness of like Tony Hawk. And so like you're getting like this really technical way to do it, and it is fun. It's just not as much fun as like Tony Hawk, where you're just like blazing around, like doing a bunch of cool shit.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I
can see that in that game where when you dumb down that pace, it would. I mean, skating is a fast sport for the most part. When you're riding, I mean, it's fast, not completely fast, but we're fighting. I think it's more, it's better applied in that fighting game because especially grappling, it is kind of slow. But there's also like burst moves too. I remember like playing UFC game years ago, and there's like it is slower for the most part. Then you'll do like a grapple or bust into a triangle or leg arm bar or something really quick, you know what I mean? So I don't know, it was pretty fun. Like I said, I don't really play the games anymore. The only time I ever played it was when Little Josh was alive, and that was one of my friends that passed away, but we used to always play those games. We were heavy into Pride Fighting and UFC, especially when it came out, and so he was even more into the games when it came out. We were one of the few people that actually played it. I was like, I didn't really know anybody who got down on those games, but me and him did, because we just liked UFC quite a bit. But it looked pretty cool. I seen previews of it. They were like had the octagon and like backyards and shit, like backyard settings and stuff.
That's cool.
Yeah, street fights, I guess you would say. So
make a COVID version where there's no crowd and it's just loud as fuck every hit.
Oh, the COVID. Yeah, the COVID's. It's okay. So I went to go get some pho, right? Some Vietnamese soup, and I don't know if you noticed, but on the door it says masks are required to come in. So I was like, oh, okay. And by the way, that's fucking getting irritating to me because I just forget the mask. And so I'll walk up to the door and I'm like, fuck. I gotta walk all the way back to the truck and grab it. Not only that, it's been an inconvenience because I don't have that extra mask for Malia. And so when I only have one mask, I'm like, fuck, we can't even go in the store now. I forgot this other mask. And so
you should just get a thing of masks and put them in your car.
I did. I had some in there. I don't know why I got down to one. I don't know how that happened, but it's
you go through them fast, man. They're expensive too.
Yeah, it is an inconvenience for me. I understand it needs to happen, and it's the rules right now. We're trying to be safe and all that, but it's a hassle. It's fucking inconvenient for me.
Oh, dude, I forgot mine the other day in the store. Oddly enough, no one said anything to me, and what's so weird is I felt kind of naked after I realized I didn't have it on. Yeah, everyone else had one on. I'm like, fuck, I'm walking around exposed and
I'm glad you said that. I also had that same experience, but when I was thinking that exact same thing you were thinking of, I kind of was going a little deeper with it. I was like, when this first started, there was a minority of people wearing the masks,
And
they were, you know, the odd man out, or like this fucking person right here. You know, I remember seeing a girl that had a fucking straight hazmat.
Dude, I just seen a dude with a fucking gas mask
Looked
on.
like he was from fucking Killzone, the game. I was like, holy shit. And this was a chick. It was all pink and decked out, and they're like, professional. I was like, whoa, dude. I remember seeing that. I was like, okay, that's fucking overkill and ridiculous. Now, yes, I also forgot my mask in Home Depot. I didn't even think about it. I'm just in there shopping. I just want something real quick.
I'm surprised they even let you in, because I thought Home Depot's kind of like known for being kind of anal about
No one said shit. I've done it twice already now.
Yeah.
And not even to be that guy. Just, I literally have forgotten my mask, and I'm not walking out to the truck to get it.
Yeah, no one said shit to me either, and I kind of wish they had, because I'd be like, oops, my bad, I'll go get my mask. You know what I mean? Because I wanted to wear my mask, you know? Everyone else is wearing the mask. I'm like, I might as well be protected like everyone else, you know what I mean? But I fucking forgot mine.
But then when you do that, now we're the minority, you know what I mean? Or like, this fucking guy's not wearing a mask, you know what I mean? Like, we're being looked at. I thought that was ironic.
It kind of bugs me, because like I can't see everyone's face, you know what I mean? So like when I'm sitting here, it's kind of like you are naked, like you have a part of your body exposed and no one else has it exposed. But staring at my mouth, dude. Okay, I can see your fucking mouth, you know what I mean?
That's funny. That's an interesting viewpoint of it, but yeah, it is definitely a strange time we're living in with everybody wearing the masks. And
Do you think people look more attractive with masks on because you can't see their whole face? You kind of use your imagination.
I mean, yeah.
That's kind of me. When I see a girl that's like, I think she's probably pretty hot, but then I'm like, I wonder if I would think that if I could see the other half of her face, you know?
She just takes it off. Put it back on.
It's my new fetish.
Right? What are the dating fucking apps like? Well, not the apps, but like dating, I guess, companies where they set up an arrangement where people meet. Are they wearing masks now, or what's going on?
I don't know.
But back to what I was saying. I went into there, it says masks are required, right? I walk in and there's people sitting down dying that obviously don't have masks on. I'm like, where do you draw the line?
You can sit down and dine?
Yes.
I didn't
And
make
you
this-
obviously cannot eat your food with
You're
a
just
mask on. Yeah, I'm like, this is ridiculous. Like, what is the sign on the door for if you can dine but masks are required? Like, where does that line cross? So, like, you're standing in line, like, I want takeout, and if you change your mind, like, you know what? I think I'll sit here and eat. Is that okay? Can I take this off?
You know what I thought was weird too is I seen that Planet Fitness is open again.
Yeah, I did see that.
And
Masks?
are they running around with
I
masks?
didn't see a mask in there.
I
no.
didn't see-
I was looking, and I
Oh,
didn't
right.
see anybody wearing a mask.
Well, that's just.
That would be tough, dude. I mean, you just breathe.
I know, but I'm saying they shouldn't be open if it's like masks are mandatory to walk around. Like they shouldn't have a place where you take off your mask, everyone's breathing heavily, circulating all the air around there and shit.
I don't know, man.
Gym's like the worst place. It's like a cesspool of germs, dude.
I mean, they're pretty good about having, you know, sanitary.
Yeah, but the easiest way to spread the coronavirus is through
Airborne.
airborne particles.
Yeah.
And so if everyone is sweating and breathing heavily into the air, it doesn't matter how much you're wiping down surfaces, you're still gonna be walking through people's breath and shit. So,
Yeah. No, that's interesting.
but you know what? I think they should do antibody tests on people and give like people like a little name, a little
That's a good idea.
things. Be like, hey, I've already had it, can't get it again, can't get it from me.
Oh, okay.
And not just be walking around like, hey, what up?
But if you have already had it, aren't you at risk to spreading it?
No, because if you've already had it and you've already fought it off and you're not sick anymore, then you don't have it anymore. You just have an immunity to it.
Okay, so you're talking about a badge that indicates that you've already purged it,
Yeah, been
went through it.
Yeah, been there, done that.
You're
Yeah.
through it.
Yeah.
Okay.
They're like, hey, why aren't you wearing your mask? You're like, or you know, like,
It's
hey,
a badge of honor.
you can't come to the gym unless you have the antibody test.
Yeah, that's
So-
a good idea, actually.
That's what they should be doing.
There's no question, and you can kind of you can label people.
Yeah.
Hey,
I'll
you
be
love
like-
labels, right?
Yeah, that'd be great. I'll just be sitting there. I'm like, fucking weirdos without with no immunity. Feels bad, doesn't it?
Get your fucking no badge wearing ass out of here. Oh. That's a good idea, though. It's a good way to identify in a world where we were just talking about we crave predictability and want identification and labels. That's a great answer and a great solution for it.
You can get like your little badge verified on Tinder. You know what I mean? And you have people with verified profiles. Like, hey, can't get the virus from this motherfucker. We're going on a date. Hell yeah.
Hell yeah, that's good. That's good stuff. So yeah, I thought that was silly. I was like, wait a second. You can dine in, but you gotta wear a mask.
Yeah, the mask thing is kind of silly. You obviously don't have to have a mask to walk around outside.
Yeah, I mean, although you said you want to, or
I'm not
walking past people or something like that.
Not really walking down the sidewalk. I mean, if I'm going into the store, because it's an enclosed air system, so yeah.
Riding in your car?
No, I don't want to take it all the way off, so I just put it underneath my chin. You know what I mean? When I'm driving around, if I've already put it on, I know I'm gonna have to go inside somewhere else. I just put it underneath my chin.
Nice. I was
because I like having periods where I'm breathing fresher air because it's just the carbon dioxide. It gets a little obnoxious after a while.
I watched a little Instagram post with JP. I forgot.
JP, it's Morgan? It's not Morgan.
No,
that's banker. That's an actual dude, though.
Awaken with JP is what his Instagram
Yeah, I don't
says.
know what his last name is.
I don't either.
I don't know why I said Morgan. That's
the guy that does comedy, the long-haired redhead.
Yeah, dude.
But he did a bit on... Yeah, he's hilarious. He did a bit on he was basically talking as if he was a person who wears a mask in the car and doing a whole bit on it. He's like, I wear my mask in the car because, such and such. And my God, it's hilarious, dude.
Yeah. I wear my mask through drive-thrus. I think it's a little crazy, but...
Yeah. I mean, their spores could come through that microphone. You never know.
Not like, when you go up to the window. The window of the drive-thru.
Well, I mean, that makes sense. You're within a couple feet of them.
Yeah. I mean, it's also... it's supposed to be more for you protecting yourself from you protecting other people from you, in case you have it. So...
I'm having a hard time understanding that concept. I mean, I understand it, but the logic behind that...
It's because when you're wearing the mask, everything you're breathing out is stopping right there. Or
majority but in order to spread it... So, going with that theory that you're protecting other people, in order for them to pick it up, they must breathe it in.
Mm-hmm.
So it's also for people who don't have it and are...
Yeah, I think it's because it's not exactly the same on both sides. I think it's easier, or the way the particles work, they don't... it doesn't stop particles coming in as much as it stops particles from coming out.
Okay.
Which I think kind of makes a little bit of sense because you need oxygen and shit to come through. So, I mean...
Yeah, I don't know. It sounds silly to make that statement to me. I've always heard it and I'm like, wait a sec.
I mean, it's based on science. I just don't know exactly, the exact numbers or whatever, how much it stops and how much it's from going out versus how much it stops from coming in, So...
Yeah, but we're all able to do both. We're able to pick it up and contract it as much as we're able to give it off to somebody and spread it.
Well, what part?
You know what I mean?
What part aren't you understanding though?
I don't know why one makes more sense than the other.
But if everyone's wearing the mask, then they can't. It's really hard for anyone to spread it to anyone else.
Right. They also can't contract it, is what I'm saying.
Yeah.
So it's ridiculous to even talk about what does what more.
Well, no, it's not.
Still...
Because, okay, if you're the one who's sick, if it doesn't stop particles coming in as much as it stops particles from coming out, basically if you're wearing it, it stops particles from coming out more than it stops them from coming in.
Yeah.
If you're wearing a mask and someone else is sick, they aren't wearing a mask, you still have a chance of getting sick because the particles can come in more than they can leave. So it makes sense for it. So you're wearing the mask to stop other people from getting sick more than you're wearing a mask to stop yourself from getting sick.
Yeah. That makes sense, but the person, even whatever amounts are, that's irrelevant, I think. Mm-hmm. This is my personal opinion. Like, the other person can still contract it. Whether the amount is big or small, there's still a small chance or big chance that the person without a mask that has not contracted it can contract it.
Mm-hmm.
So they should just wear a mask too.
Yeah. But the thing is, the mask... it doesn't really stop that much from you contracting it.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
But it stops more from you spreading.
But we would never know who has it without this badge that you're talking about.
Yeah, exactly.
So in that regard, we should all just wear masks.
In practicality, everyone should wear masks, which is what
that's
they're saying.
why it doesn't make sense to me to even say that. It's like it's irrelevant, to say that. It's like, well, people can contract it too, so let's just not worry about the amounts of how much. Let's just all wear a mask.
Well, yeah. I mean, but there is something to be said of like the person's like, I'm not going to wear a mask because I'm not worried about getting sick. It's like you might be asymptomatic and be spreading it and not realize that you have it. You know what I mean?
Okay.
So you can't just be like, I'm not going to wear a mask because I'm not afraid of getting sick or whatever. Or like, I think it's a hoax or, whatever.
Yeah. I think it's, I don't know. I think it's better just to tell everybody to wear a mask if we're going to go down that road. Not necessarily. I mean, you can definitely point out the fact that, like, you can be contributing to spreading this a lot more than you actually are contracting it. But
no, I'm just saying when I go through the drive-through and I don't put on the mask, I feel bad for the other people because I realize that I could be, if I'm asymptomatic and I could be spreading it to them and not realize I'm doing it. You know what I mean? So
yeah, but they got a mask on, right?
Yeah, but the point is that the mask doesn't stop as much from coming in. So if I'm sick and I'm breathing onto them because I forgot to put the mask on, I'm putting them more at risk of getting sick.
I see what you're saying. Okay, so with the mask on, the person who is contributing it is more likely to contribute it with the person wearing the mask, even so.
Yeah.
That's what you're saying. Okay. That makes a little more logical sense. But again, we can just tell everybody to put their masks on and not even have to worry about, this person needs to worry about it a little more than that person. I know it's facts and it should be stated, but if we're all just doing what we're told, it's a non-issue.
Yeah.
It should be.
Yeah. But it's not that crazy in Thurston County yet.
No, it's not. It's just Yakima, it seems like, and
yeah, it's kind of like going up though. If we're gonna talk about it, might as well just we got Washington right here. There's 40,000 cases in Washington now though. 1,000 deaths. I mean, that's not that many considering the population here.
14,024 deaths.
1,400, not 14,000.
Excuse me, 1,424. Didn't want to scare you guys there.
Let's see, what's the
12,000 recovered, huh?
Of Washington.
That's a good recovery rate, right?
I mean, the recovery rate is like 98% or higher. So, 7 million people in Washington. So, was that 40,000 divided by 7 million? So, that would be 0.5% of the population. So that means 1 in every 200 people has had the virus in Washington. By the official numbers, but what they're saying is the official numbers probably aren't true. They're probably way more cases than our.
Yeah, because not everybody knows that they have something.
I think it might be up to 10 times more. So if that's the case, then like 5% of the population has had it.
How the fuck would they come up with that number?
They came up with that number by doing the antibody test in New York and realizing that like 30-40% of the population there has had it.
Really?
They have antibodies to the virus, but obviously not 40% of the population has been a confirmed case. So that's how they did that. They just basically, I think they tested like 15,000 or 20,000 people or something, and like 40% of them had the antibodies for the coronavirus.
Really?
But not all of them got sick, and so when you take that, even if it's 5 times this amount, so this is 1 in 40. So what is 1 divided by 40? 1 divided by 40 equals.
Oh yeah, it's almost 25%, right?
Well, it's 2.5%.
Oh.
2.5%.
So
2.5% death rate if you get the coronavirus. But that's with the confirmed numbers. So if you were to make this 5 times, you know what I mean? It'd be 5 times less. You know what I mean? So
it's 1/4%. Is that right?
It'd be it depends. If you do do an estimate 5 times as many people have had it as the confirmed cases, then you would divide the 2.5% by 5, and it'd be 0.5% death rate.
Oh, okay.
But to put that in perspective, the flu has a 0.1% death rate on average. So even if that was true, even if the coronavirus had a 0.5, it would still be 5 times deadlier than the regular flu. So
yeah,
which I mean, it's obvious that it's deadlier than the regular flu, but
yeah, I mean, if all these cases are...
Oh, I forgot. I was going to come down to here anyways. This is what I really wanted to check. Thurston County, we have 355 cases.
That's really low compared to, to Snohomish and...
Yeah, look at Yakima.
Yakima County's 8,000. King County's really towering, dude.
I mean, Seattle. Let's see.
But you don't hear them on the news as much as Yakima.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Let's see. Yesterday, King County had 140 new cases.
Wow. I would say they're definitely in a worse situation than Yakima.
It's not that bad though. Look at the United States.
Yeah, that's a lot. 3 million.
We have such a small portion of the whole 137,000 deaths. Let's see. New York, California. I think we don't live in California. Huh?
Yeah.
This is Florida. Yeah.
I mean, I would appreciate the weather though.
Well, again, apparently where it's the sunniest parts of the U.S. right now are getting the most coronavirus cases because everyone's outside. You know, I mean, like, whatever. So I think even though we talk shit about people in Washington, I mean, not like directly be like Washingtonians are assholes, but obviously we live in Washington. We talk shit about the average person around here. I think we're a little bit ahead of the curve. You know what I mean? They're like, wear a mask. We're like, all right, fine. We've been social distancing this whole time. It's like, we don't have that many cases comparatively, and we were like one of the first places in the United States to get the coronavirus here. Like we had like the first case, I think, here. It was either here or it was California.
Really?
But yeah, at the beginning of the coronavirus, we had like, you know, it was funny. It was like 12 cases, but that was comparatively. It's like there's 2 in California and there's none anywhere else. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I was like, oh shit, Washington's gonna be the place where it breaks out. You know what I mean?
It's gonna be the harbor.
But we're like, fuck no, we're just gonna stay inside.
Yeah, for the most part, we're pretty accommodating, and I feel like we really do as we're told. I mean, there's definitely groups of people out there that are going against the grain and leftists, if you will.
Yeah. It's either... Well, here's the thing. It's either that or we're just healthier, so a lot of us are asymptomatic.
Okay.
Who knows what it is, you know what I mean?
A lot of tree huggers over here, so maybe.
Yeah, I mean, we're a bunch of fucking hippies up here.
Yeah.
So maybe. Also, there's actually a lot of these places that have high death rates are like in the south where there's like a lot of pollution, and it's remember I was telling you about like food deserts and like the systematic racism and stuff?
Yeah.
A lot of these black people like live in places that are heavily polluted and stuff, and it like goes back to slavery and stuff. And they have higher death rates there, but they also have higher rates of cancer and stuff there as well, because the air is polluted.
Yeah.
But I'm pretty sure in Washington we have like really good air quality, so
really?
That might be why the death rate's also lower here. You know, it's because like we have less, you know, asthma and problems like that around here, lung problems because of the good air quality.
I didn't really think about that.
And then I venture to say the Washingtonians are a little, maybe slightly healthier on average.
Probably, yeah. It'd be interesting to find out those statistics.
I don't know if those things are true. I'm just talking out my ass, but speculating, okay?
Yeah.
Not saying that's a fact.
I think it's an accurate speculation. And so, yeah, that was kind of us going on just touching base with the coronavirus and the COVID-19 thing that's going on right now. It's still a constant nuisance and inconvenience to life and economy and health and mental health and
yikes.
Yeah, looking at the deaths.
The world. That's the
567,000 deaths in the world.
Mm-hmm.
And that's a good amount. Over 500,000.
Yeah, it's crazy. USA is leading the pack.
Yeah, that's crazy.
That's because we're so stubborn, man.
Yeah, I think so. Like I said, I don't think Washington State's as much, but I think you know, there's definitely other states that are...
On average, Americans are stubborn assholes that are really self-absorbed, and they don't like to be told what to do.
Yeah.
So they're like, wear a mask? Fuck off.
Yeah.
They could have been wearing a mask. You tell them to wear a mask, they'll take the mask off, dude. They're like, fuck.
Yeah, exactly. Reverse psychology.
Just out of spite. They're like, fuck you, I ain't doing it now.
Right? They should do a study on that and just try that shit like that. Like, okay.
That's what they should have done. It just had different media in the United States where they're like, don't wear masks. That's fucking stupid.
Yeah.
And then people would be like, they're lying to you. Buy all the masks. Everyone would have been wearing masks.
They're trying to get you to contract the virus so that you got nanotechnology and you get masks on now.
Dude, that's straight up what would have happened too. That's fucking
You're
hilarious.
So right, dude. They should do that just to fuck with, I don't know, civilization. Just to Like, we were just trying to see if you guys go against the grain, and we were totally right.
It's like a thought experiment. They're just seeing what
Exactly.
happens.
I would totally be interested in seeing
And we make
that.
up our own conspiracy theories. Aliens introduced this virus that isn't that deadly, and they told different countries to do different things just to see how people would react. And it's just like a
That would be entertaining.
sociology study of aliens. That's my conspiracy theory. You heard it here first.
That would be fucking hilarious and entertaining.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All the aliens are like, these fucking idiots. It's just a cold. Come on. You haven't left the house for 3 months? Jesus.
Right? How pissed off would people be if they found out that this was all just a sham?
Psych.
Right? Or just this was a test, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Just to see how many of you guys would listen, how many of you wouldn't. Yeah, it'd be interesting. The job thing, and like you were talking about Planet Fitness, like, I mean, it's already way past the point where businesses are like, you know, we either got to shut down or open up and take that risk.
Mm-hmm.
I can't imagine people going much longer, even the businesses that were able to kind of take on some of that upfront expense cost just to get through this
Yeah.
period. But like I said, Planet Fitness, a business like Planet Fitness, they need people coming in.
Mm.
They're gonna have to shut down if they don't open the doors.
Yeah, they're probably like the biggest gym in the United States. So I mean, losing because they didn't charge people, you know, during the coronavirus, obviously when they shut down. So was it like they lost like 4 months of revenue?
Yeah,
For a big company like that, it's probably a lot of money. Dude.
that's a lot. Yeah,
Millions and millions of dollars.
absolutely. Just one location.
I can understand it financially. I'm just saying. I don't know if it's the smartest fucking decision health wise.
No, probably not. Yeah, that's the position that everybody's put in too, though. You know, we live in a world where currency is relevant, and that's what gets you, you know, that's what advances you in life. That's what gets you your goals. That's what gets you successful. And if we can't generate profit and money, you might as well give up on what you're doing. So, yeah, I'm surprised this has gone on this long. Where that's why we were talking about this protest a while back. I think a lot of that, the looting and the violence, was really just built up frustration from the life situation people are in. A lot of that, people have, you know, been without work and shit, and they're probably taking it out on anybody, really.
Should have moved to Canada. Look at they only have 100,000 cases.
Yeah, Canada's smart too.
Not to talk shit about Americans, but I think Canadians are a little bit smarter on
Yeah.
average,
Yeah,
and probably a little bit more than a little bit nicer. So
yeah, I think they're nicer too. It's funny,
I don't know that many Canadians, but
and nor do I. It's funny. My English regional manager for Four Seasons, he lives in Canada, but he's English.
he's English and he lives in
Yeah.
Canada. He's probably smart. He's like, I'm not gonna live in the U.S.
Oh, for sure. He definitely seems like a smart individual. Which, and it could be the accent too, right? What is it about the English accent that just makes you?
Well, you said he has a Cockney accent though, right?
I think so. It's really hard. Really.
It's not a posh sounding one, like the
I don't know the term difference.
like the Queen. If you listen to the Queen talk. Oh, okay. I don't know.
I don't think so. No, I think I know what she sounds like. Yeah, but no, I don't think
Yeah.
so.
Yeah, she has what's called like a RP accent, which just means received pronunciation. It's basically like they teach it in the middle class and higher up schools.
Oh, do they?
Yeah, they teach basically it's the proper way of speaking. It's the proper English. So,
Okay.
But yeah, it has a very like upper class posh sounding tone to it. So
Huh. But yeah. Regardless, they both just to the American ears scream intelligence. I don't know what that is, but so even the person that's not very intelligent, if they got an English accent, they could ride that card for a while. If I met someone who had an English accent who's dumb as a box of rocks, it would be weird to my mind. Like, wait a sec, you should be smart.
Yeah. Ooh, Canada is ranked number 13 on the intelligence.
Oh, are they?
Yeah. Wait. The UK is 16, so
Where's United States on that?
27.
27, huh?
Yeah. Average IQ. So the average IQ is 100, but the average IQ in the United States is 98. Which means we're a little dumber than average here.
That's hilarious.
United Kingdom's at 100, so Canada's at 101. Very, very slightly.
Above average.
Very slightly above average, yeah.
Doesn't surprise me that we're below average.
It doesn't, also doesn't surprise me is that all these Asian countries are at the top. Asians are fucking smart, dude. I swear to God, man.
Yeah, they are.
It's not even racist, okay? It's a compliment, all right? But like, dude, I go to school, man. All the Asian kids are like,
Yeah.
they're snappy, man. They fucking know all their shit. They're fucking like very studious and shit.
I think a lot of that has to do with parenting and culture,
Yeah,
too.
it's definitely their culture.
I don't know for sure, but I'm just making
They work really hard in school, but I think also that's probably why. But I think they probably are at average intelligence or maybe a little bit above average intelligence just kind of naturally. I mean, it probably happens. I don't know exactly how evolution works, but I'm sure if you gain intelligence and then have kids, you know what I mean? Your kids will probably be more intelligent.
I agree. Well, especially because if you're successful,
The thing
you
is,
understand that your intelligence has gotten you there, and so you're obviously going to pass that to your children.
I think more likely is what it'll be is, I mean, maybe the brain thing will pass, but I'm also thinking if you're more intelligent, you're probably more likely to be healthy. And then if you have kids while you're healthy, obviously you're more likely the baby will get more nutrients and stuff. So you'll probably have a better brain development in the baby. You know what I mean? So
I agree.
that would even just doing that would raise your IQ by at least a couple points, I'm assuming. So
Yeah, it's so crucial to understand for a pregnant woman that everything you do to your body is directly going to affect that baby.
yeah.
I think there's a good portion of women who are getting pregnant that really need a lesson on that, and they should teach that. Matter of fact, yes, they should teach that shit in school. Because I mean, especially for the
They should do like a scare campaign. If you do stupid things while you're pregnant, you're gonna have a stupid fucking baby.
yeah.
Like,
I mean, it's not even that. If you're gonna have a unhealthy baby, I mean, if you smoke, if you're on drugs, like your child's gonna be.
they do teach that in school.
They should go further with that. Like
Yeah.
everything that goes into your body, even animal products, take it to the extreme. I'm talking every level, every thing you put in your body.
They probably should talk more about stress and stuff too, though.
That too,
They should be like, hey, you need to do some meditation, maybe do some yoga or something. You know, listen to some soothing music, take some more baths. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Tell your boyfriend to quit being such a fucking asshole.
And I know that there are some establishments that probably do everything we're talking about, but
Definitely.
they should make this mainstream.
Yeah.
This is, to me, it's so important.
Like required by.
It should be in our home ec class or some shit, you know what I mean? Like it should be right there with, you know, what they did in our high school was they had the fake baby, the women wear the fake babies around just to see what it's like to be pregnant. I think their whole motive behind that was to kind of scare kids into not getting pregnant.
Yeah, what they should have done is like gave them some salt so they're all bloated, and like gave them some some sleepy meds, you know what I mean, and like hit them in the ankle so they're swollen a little bit.
Hit 'em in the ankle.
Now you're really pregnant.
There you go.
On top of that, you're constipated. Here's
It's a real life simulation. Yeah, of course, obviously they wouldn't go that far, but you're right, it's not a real good accurate representation of what
just
it's like
having
to
a
be
lump on your stomach.
Yeah, that's not even accurate. As a matter of fact, that might even go against preventing it. You know what I mean? They're like, oh, this isn't so bad.
Oh yeah,
This is all it is.
I can do this.
Yeah.
You don't realize the baby's pushing up against your organs and stuff on the inside, dude.
Exactly. There's a lot of missing elements there that need to be addressed.
We're talking like we know what the fuck we're talking
Right?
about.
These are all speculation. Yeah, I mean,
In my defense, I'm saying that pregnancy is harder than people make it out to be. So I think we're on the right tracks.
I agree. And I don't know for sure. Yeah, obviously I've never had a child, but
I wouldn't want to do it. I'd be fucking free. I'd be like, get this thing out of me.
I imagine it's like taking a really hard shit, but 10 times worse. Right?
Having a baby?
Yeah.
It's probably more than 10 times worse. I don't know.
It's like just a really intense constipation process.
Well, baby's head is like...
God, I don't even... Just imagining that, it's like, ow.
Yeah, dude. That's why they give them epidurals and shit.
I must say, when I first watched a pregnancy in real life on TV, I've never seen one in real life. The crowning moment, yeah. That forever changed my viewpoint of a vagina. I was like, holy shit, that's disgusting.
I mean, it is gross, but I seen it, and then my brain was like, we're gonna block that. Censored.
Yeah.
Forget about it.
Yeah, absolutely. Another thing my brain did was so when Malia was born.
Oh my god, I forgot.
Okay. Hey, how's it going, Mom? We're just now. What's up, bro? I hate my life. What's up, dude?
Bro, I hate my life. What a username. Hey, man, it's gonna be all right. It's gonna be all right.
And then yeah, we weren't addressing our chat here, so pardon us for not keeping up on that, but so it looks like Yakima people were wearing more masks, so we're in phase 1.5. Okay,
I think we're in phase 3 over here, which I think is a mistake, but
yeah,
it's not my decision. So you guys should probably not even be in 1.5. Probably should be in phase 1 because you guys are like really breaking out over there. Maybe go back to quarantining a little bit.
Right.
Just stay inside. Just don't go anywhere. You know, have your food delivered to the door. You know, just be like me. Take a painting or something. You know, learn an instrument. Yeah,
I think when you got cases like that, they're so high, it's probably definitely a good idea to consider going back to quarantine or.
Yeah, like if I was like in New York when that shit was popping off, like I'm staying home, food's getting delivered to the door. It's not even gonna be fresh food. It's gonna be all fucking packaged shit. The box is gonna sit in the garage for a day or two, so the germs die on it. And then I'm unpacking it. That would just lick the box and get it over with.
There you go. I mean, yeah.
You gotta do one or the other, right?
It's either you worry about masking all the time, or you just get it and get it over with. That's probably better, right? No more worrying about the mask.
Yeah.
The thing is, you're right. Without some kind of identification badge, we gotta wear a mask still, even if we've already had it.
Do you imagine that? Like going in the store and like, hey, put on your fucking mask. You're like, I've already fucking had it, man. Like, come on. They're like, well, we don't know that. Fuck. I like fresh air, man.
All right. Have you seen any of those videos where people are freaking out that they don't, they're being called out that they gotta wear a mask? I've seen a couple of them.
I mean, I haven't watched them. I've seen like the thumbnails. I don't really care. You know what I mean? It's people being drama queens and shit.
People being drama queens, yeah. This one lady was like throwing all her groceries out of the cart on the ground. It's like, really? You're gonna do that? Like, I mean, you can
get childish, man.
Yeah, I was like,
you throw a fit like a little fucking kid, man. Jesus.
That brings me to another thing I was thinking about earlier today was you can really, how I was talking about how you can tell a lot about a person's driving or a person's personality by their driving.
Yeah.
You can also tell a lot about a person when they're pissed. An awful lot about a person when they're pissed. And it's kind of a weird catch-22 because also when you're pissed, you say things you don't mean.
Yeah.
But there's still a bit of a clear representation of where you're at mentally, in my opinion.
If anything else, it'll also just teach people how good you are at controlling yourself.
Yeah, absolutely. The worst ones and the most obviously unintelligent people, for me, one of the red flags that comes up is when someone's extremely pissed and their go-to is just a plethora of profanity in their vocabulary.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I fucking cuss a lot when I'm pissed.
But it's certain words, like, it's weird to explain. So, like, how can I dumb myself down and make myself sound like some of these people I'm talking about? So, like, if I was pissed and I'd be like, okay, fuck you, you punk ass, you know, stupid motherfucker, punch bitch made, you know, that you're just going on and on and on and
calling
on.
them a bunch of names.
Bunch of name calling, exactly. When a grown adult starts doing that when they're extremely pissed, it just screams highly unintelligent to me.
Yeah.
I've
definitely done that in the past. Nowadays, I was like, this is fucking bullshit, which is a little bit different because I'm not like, you know,
yeah.
calling anyone a name, but I get what you're saying.
I mean, you should be able to. I don't know. I have a better. I just don't go there when I'm pissed.
What do you do when you're pissed?
First, I try not to give a reaction that the person's expecting. So
how does your tone change? How does your facial expressions change? Or like,
I get pretty aggro.
Yeah.
Like it depends on the type of piss too. Like if I'm legitimately pissed, I'll definitely kind of get a little bit ghetto too. But I just don't get like with the name calling so much. Like it's more I don't know. I'm all about business, even when it comes to being pissed.
What about like a mid-level mad? You know what I mean?
Yeah, all that is very controlled for me. Very controlled.
I'm pretty bad at controlling my facial expressions. You know what I mean? But
yeah,
I'll get the kind of the brows and the eyes. You know, like you'll know I'm irritated, but I'll be like, all right, you know, I'll still be like as polite as I can be, but I'm like, you can hear it in my tone too.
Yeah. My vocabulary still just is, I don't know, it's thought out and what I say, you know, like I'm not really just off the cuff with like, you know,
I think my
name calling and stuff.
I think my vocabulary gets better when I'm mad, but then when there gets a point where you're like livid, where it just falls off. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'll get like more intelligent, and then there's like a breaking point. I'm like, phew, just fall off a cliff. I'm like, you bitch. You're like, all right, we're done.
Punk ass motherfucker. Oh man, shit's funny to me though. But yeah, I don't know. You can, like I said, there's a fine line there where having someone who's extremely pissed off is not a very clear representation of who they actually are as a person, but it kind of also is a clear indication of what their intelligence level is. So it doesn't sound like that makes sense, but I think there is a fine line there. Kind of like what you were talking about. It's like there's a tipping point.
Yeah.
And it becomes very obvious.
I don't know. Maybe. Depends on what they're doing, what they're pissed off about.
Yeah. And
for me, it just kind of differentiates, or I can differentiate. I think it just says a lot about their emotional intelligence. It doesn't necessarily. I've seen some intelligent people, also myself. I just call myself intelligent. Jeez. Shoot myself. All right. What was that? Other people that are intelligent?
I'm gonna leave yourself to yourself
I'm just
for a second.
All right. But some intelligent people throw some little baby fits. So you know what I mean. So
yeah.
And that's always really surprising too. You see someone that's like highly intelligent, fucking like make a fucking joke of themselves, and you're like, that is so embarrassing. I feel it's almost worse. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You see an unintelligent person like act like an idiot. You're like, all right, well, he's an idiot. You see an intelligent person fucking like throw a little fit. You're like, didn't want to see that.
Yeah.
Now I can't look at you the same.
Yeah, exactly. It's fucking funny, dude, to watch that stuff. I've definitely come across that quite a bit too, where I'm like, wow, I did not expect you to act like that. Mm-hmm. Thought you were much smarter than that.
Well, that's what, there's a difference between intelligence and emotional intelligence. You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, and there's some overlap, obviously, but not necessarily.
Yeah, there's street smart and there's brain smart. You're right. Book smart.
Yeah, I'm good at that. I'm getting better at the emotional intelligence though, so catch me 5 years ago I was a fucking idiot, so
yeah,
doing a little bit better nowadays.
So let's see, let me start cutting down into some of this.
Yeah, we're getting really good at just going off the cuff. Who's like barely checking off anything on this.
So like I wanted to talk about like understanding wasted time, and like trying to identify wasted time.
All right.
And also identifying experience and failures and where that kind of fits on a person's spectrum.
Okay, so why don't you define wasted time?
Yeah, it's a good question.
Or how do you define wasted time? I think it's different for everyone.
Absolutely, it's subjective. Yeah, everybody's got different viewpoints, so that's why I thought it was a pretty good topic to talk about. So, wasted time is, for me, wasted time really can only be gauged. Really, the way wasted time for me is identified is if whatever that time that you quote unquote have put into something, if you have not done anything with that time, then it's wasted.
Yeah.
Because if you have learned, even if you've learned something out of that time, yes, you got something out of that. You got an experience. You got something out of it. But unless you do something with it, I think that's when, for me, it categorizes as wasted time.
Yeah.
Like, let's just use an example. A bad relationship with somebody. Like,
okay.
Let's use that as this can apply to so many different things, but for some reason that was the only thing I can think of right now.
I was thinking much more short term than a relationship, but okay.
Well, because understanding that I classify wasted time as being a long-term thing, basically only being identified if you haven't done anything with it. Okay. It kind of refers to long-term for what I'm talking about right now.
I thought you were talking about, like, man, you just sat there and watched 2 movies. You've been sitting there for 4 hours. What a waste of fucking time. I thought that's the fucking thought process you're going with here.
And like I said, there's so many different angles with what wasted time could look like for people. Yeah. Mm-hmm. But like, let's just say you're with a person you're unhappy with. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? And you've done nothing about it. Yeah, you've probably learned a ton of stuff in that time, but fast forward 10 years and you've done nothing to get yourself out of this unhappy situation. You've wasted time.
Yeah.
In that scenario.
Most people, I think, are guilty of that. I know that me and you are guilty of that for sure.
Yeah.
We spent years in relationships that we were unhappy.
But it's not a wasted time if you've learned from that and done something different. Is what I'm saying. Is the wasted time is identified if you have not done anything to change that pattern.
Yeah, but isn't it still wasted time if you could have learned the same thing but had into the relationship sooner?
But you'll never know.
Yeah.
You'll never know that.
That's speculation, so who knows?
Yeah, you'll never know that. It's not a wasted time if you've learned and changed yourself.
Yeah.
In my opinion, that's how I classify wasted time.
Yeah.
If you've done something to make a change, that wasn't wasted.
Yeah. And it's only recently, like, since I was, 25? No, 26? Man, really? It's like 2 or 3 years that I started trying to learn from my mistakes,
Yeah.
So, yeah, I did definitely waste a lot of time before that. But I think now, like, all my relationships and failures, I try to learn something from them. I try to, even if I'm not, obviously you don't really think about that in the moment, but always afterwards trying to look back on it and try to be like, all right, what was the mistake here? What could I have done different? Or how could I have approached it differently?
Yeah, so that in my mind is not wasted time. Just sitting there putting time into thinking about what happened, why you dealt with it, what your mental process was, and all that stuff. Like, that classifies as not being wasted time to me.
Yeah. It's pretty hard. Like, I guess this is kind of what we were talking about on previous podcasts, but it's pretty hard to actually do that. It's a lot easier to just kind of keep going on. It's like, it takes a lot of concerted effort to critically think about a situation and learn from that situation.
Yeah.
It's a lot easier to just, especially in situations like that, it's a lot easier to just blame the other person and just be like, there's nothing wrong with what I did, whatever, which is what most people do.
Yeah, that's a good point. That's a whole nother conversation too, where people don't want to hold accountability because it doesn't put any responsibility on yourself.
Yeah.
You've basically given yourself an excuse to not work on yourself.
Yeah. Even in my one of my recent relationships, I was talking about things the other person did wrong, but that didn't mean I didn't do anything wrong. I did plenty of things wrong. There's plenty of times I should have left the relationship. I should have, seen the red flags from the beginning of the relationship. I shouldn't have been so needy. There's tons of things about myself that I learned, even if the other person was more in the wrong, in my opinion, than I was. You know what I mean? So
yeah,
I didn't just be like, no, they were wrong, I was right.
Yeah,
black and white bullshit. More of that.
Mm-hmm. When I had to do a anger management class, there was an assignment that we did that our counselor had everybody do. It's called a clarification letter. And basically you write a letter to somebody that you've abused, whether it's verbally, mentally, physically, whatever, and you basically just explain to them and clarify specific instances of how you abuse them and what type of abuses those were. And what that looks like is, you have something, dear such and such, when I grabbed your arm, I was emotionally abusive towards you. I was physically abusive to you, mentally abusive to you. And you basically just say that in a bunch of different instances, and you kind of have the freedom to point out whatever you want and kind of air out, if you will, all these things. But most times people have to, and the letter has to get passed by everybody in the group. Okay. They all have to, and there's things in there that they're looking for that is not going to pass it. Obviously, the counselor themselves also has to pass it.
Most of the things are not taking accountability.
Yeah, the purpose of the clarification letter is to completely take accountability. So if you have any words in there that say,
like, I did this because you did this, or whatever,
or even vaguely, like using that example, like when I grabbed your arm after you punched me, that would get denied, and you'd have to come next week.
Because you're supposed to only be focusing on what you did and not what they did.
Exactly.
Because it's always your choice to do what you did.
Exactly. And that's just not the purpose of the assignment as well.
Yeah.
Like the purpose was to hold accountability. So if you have, and it's also good exercise to highlight how you do other people's inventory too. You know what I mean? That was a good exercise for me to realize where I do that. To be honest, my clarification letter, I think I only had to get it revised maybe 3 times or something like that, which is actually pretty good. There's some people in there that are doing it 5-6 weeks and still don't even get it passed.
Really?
Because of some one word or something in there that needs to be changed. And that gets
they know what it is and they're just stubbornly not.
Yeah, they're like, when you said this in the letter, I'd like to hear it say something like this rather than this, because it sounds like. And there's, again, without me diving into it, there's so much out there with the verbiage that can be used that puts it on the other person, does their inventory. You don't even realize it until you start doing one of those letters in a fucking professional setting like that with a certified counselor, you know what I mean? You're like, holy shit, I didn't even know I did that. Yeah. And then hearing other people's clarification letter, like, you learn so much in that one assignment. But I loved it because it definitely taught me how to not do other people's inventory and really hold accountability. And that's been something that's helped me in my whole life since that class, man. Yeah. Like in business, in relationships, and life in general.
Yeah, I guess you aren't very hypercritical anymore, huh? So
I'm not worried about.
I don't know if you ever really were to begin with, but you're definitely not now.
Yeah, and I'm not perfect. There might be times where I'm slipping up and doing other people's inventory, but for the most part, I'm really not. I'm focused on how I put myself in these situations, why I'm in that situation. If there's something happening to me, it's because I've put myself in that situation. Why did I do that? How did I do this? Why am I doing this? I'm all about me, man, doing work on myself.
I know usually, if you're upset with somebody about something, I'll try to ask you about their inventory, and you're like, I don't know, man, I'm not really focused on that shit.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, okay. So.
Yeah, I'm not. I'm just worried about my situation, but I thought I'd explain that to you though, because like I said, it was a really good exercise to do amongst other assignments that they had us do too.
Yeah, that sounds like a really cool exercise.
It was cool. But it's not fun and easy either, because you're highlighting the things that you're not so happy or impressed. You're not really proud of. You know what I mean? There's some shit that you're basically.
Those are the things you're least proud of too.
Yeah.
So.
And that also shows how serious a person is taking it when they're airing out some serious shit. I mean, the very first day of my anger management class, and I can say this because I'm not name calling anybody, there was a guy doing a clarification letter in there, and because everybody's at different phases in their class and they're doing different assignments, and this one guy was doing his clarification letter, and he was talking about, and the clarification letter comes late in when you're already been through this months later, so you're already at a good stage before you even get to that. So you've done a lot of good work to get there. He was talking about one of his statements in his clarification letter said, and when he said it, it blew my fucking mind, but he said, when I punched you in the stomach when you were pregnant with our child, I was being this, this, and this, and this.
That's crazy.
And I couldn't fucking believe to hear those words come out of his mouth, and the way he said it. He was obviously very upset with himself that he did that. And you could tell he was proud to talk about it. But I admired the fact that he owned it. I was like, this fucking guy just said some of the most disgusting. That's one of the worst things I could ever fucking hear a person say.
For real.
And he just fucking owned it.
That's hardcore, dude. That's fucking crazy.
And the way he said it was, I didn't think that I could hear somebody say that and not be completely disgusted by him. I was more impressed that he said that and has brought himself to the position he was at. I was like, wow, dude. And I felt guilty now. Not guilty. I felt empathy for him.
Yeah.
Because now I was like, damn, dude, he really is a solid individual, and he did that. That sucks to be him. You know what I mean? Like, he's got a lot of, just that one statement, I couldn't imagine him ever coming back from that. For the person he did it to, the child, like
mentally coming back from that?
Yeah. Or for both sides, for them to even forgive him, like, I felt sorry for him. I was like, damn, dude. I was like, I'm happy that he's in that situation where he can hold himself accountable and, understands he's made huge mistakes. But again, I was like, dang, dude. But then I also felt, like, fuck, you really did that, dude? That's fucked up, man.
How do you... I guess maybe my brain just doesn't work that. I don't get how people are that violent. Like, I get angry and I'll yell. Maybe I'll throw some stuff around. I don't throw things at people, though. But I don't. You gotta
remember, substance also usually plays a role.
Yeah.
And when people are fucked up on even alcohol. Alcohol?
Probably more so on alcohol. I mean, I don't really get violent on alcohol. I guess I've slapped some of my friends on alcohol, but it's like, I've never slapped a woman on alcohol, so...
Yeah, you just never know, man. With
I guess that's
alcohol and hard drugs, people get fucking fucked up.
Yeah, I guess that's true. People do some fucking crazy shit on drugs that you would never expect them to do.
Yeah, and that's why I don't really, I have to look at an individual when they're clean and sober to understand their life a little better while they were on substances. Because, okay, it goes back to intelligent and unintelligent people. We got unintelligent people. We got intelligent people. I would argue there's much more unintelligent people out there than there is intelligent. Now put those unintelligent people on drugs. Obviously, it's going to be a much worse fucking situation, and they're going to commit the most heinous acts and do some shit that's just unspeakable. And so that's where I really have a hard time empathizing for that group. It's the people that actually are looking at themselves, doing their own inventory and holding themselves accountable and actually wanting to become a better person. It's like, that's when I look at them, I'm like, okay, drugs had a lot to play with that, or alcohol, substances really had a huge part to play with that as to why that person, whatever, punched his wife in the stomach while she's pregnant or whatever, killed that person. I mean, it's crazy, man. I've watched enough documentaries to know that, like, drugs really just set a person off. Sometimes it gets emotions more amplified.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Fine.
So I don't know, it's a crazy thing, dude. But like I said, that class though, I learned so much in that one experience in the clarification letter. That was my first day. I heard that guy, and I had a bad attitude going into it. Like, I don't fucking belong here. I'm not a fucking wife beater. I'm not this. I'm not that. You know what I mean? I justified a lot of things to put myself not in this group. You know, like, I didn't want to be a part of this group.
You don't want to be associated.
I didn't want to be associated with it. Yeah, I definitely didn't want to be associated with someone who punched his wife in the stomach while pregnant.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, but I quickly learned that, like, that class isn't for just that. It's a label that type of class has gotten. So when people hear anger management, they're like, oh, this guy's got an anger fucking problem, or this guy's a woman beater. Oh, this guy, if you're in that class, you're this, you're that, you're this. Anger management class, there's so much I've learned in that class that I apply to life that isn't just about anger issues and managing anger.
Yeah, it's anger management classes are really just good for relationships in general.
Yeah.
Like, honestly, you could not have an anger issue and take an anger management class and learn a lot from it.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah, and I didn't realize that until I went through the class. I was like, this is fucking great, man.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah, I had the same deal basically when I went to my first one. Except for I kind of accepted the fact that I needed to be in an anger management class just because I could not control my temper. But yeah.
Yeah, it's helpful, dude, for the people that need it, for the people that want it, for the people that don't need it, or don't want it. I think there's something to gain out of those classes. So yeah, I highly advocate going to anger management class, and not even for someone who doesn't have an anger problem. I think there's a lot to be learned in those classes, man. It's really good, especially if you have a good counselor and a good group setting. It makes you feel like you're part of something that's big, and you're actually doing some good self work, internal work and stuff, and you're helping people too.
What I learned about from my anger management class too was actually communicating with angry people as well. I don't know if you learned that in yours, but I mean, even if you're worried about trying to de-escalate someone that's angry, anger management class can work for that as well.
Yeah, it could. They didn't really.
I mean, you didn't delve that too much into that in yours?
No, they more focused on it's more self-understanding class. So you removed yourself from situations that get you upset.
Yeah.
They didn't really talk about too much about de-escalating an angry person.
Oh, mine was more about like relationships, and it's just like the way you phrase things can make people more upset or whatever, so
yeah,
just finding different ways of communicating the same idea but just in a better light or whatever, with different phrasing.
Nice.
But it wasn't just like you're not angry and the other person's angry. It was more like for like relationships where you're kind of arguing and not escalating the argument to something worse, is just learning how to more effectively communicate.
So that's a relationship anger management class. It was specifically
it was more relational than anything, but yeah.
Nice. So yeah, they probably focused on a little bit different things.
Yeah.
Probably relatively the same too.
Yeah, I mean, it's in the same ballpark, but I didn't have to do like a self-reflection essay like you were saying. So that's I would have liked that. I mean, I guess I would have not liked it and liked it at the same time.
Yeah.
It would have been.
It's therapeutic,
rough,
man.
But yeah, I was gonna say it would have been rough, but I probably would have enjoyed it.
It's good to get that out there, and then especially to get it passed by your class, because then you know that it's.
You actually give it to the person, or is it just a written?
Nope, you don't give it to the person.
Oh, okay.
This is just something you're saying out loud.
So that's some crazy shit to actually just give to someone.
Yeah. I forgot what I was going to say though. Another assignment they had us do was basically a timeout plan, and this is something that I actually don't do. I did it early on when I first joined the class, but I kind of fell out of it just because I know I don't need a timeout plan. Not to sound douchey, but my timeout plan is small enough that it's in my head. I don't really need it. But they want you to have it printed out and on your fridge or something like that. But basically, what a timeout plan is it has you write out all your physical anger indications. So when you get angry, there's physical things that happen.
Yeah.
And you need to understand those with yourself. Everybody has different things that happen to them.
Yeah. What do you do?
Their hands get shaky. Their voice starts cracking. Their whatever. You know what I mean? They start sweating. There's physical cues that happen. And part of that assignment is for you to identify those cues. Because when that happens, you need to remove yourself and take time out, as they call it.
Right.
And so that was a helpful assignment too. I did actually use that a couple times, but I never really religiously stuck with that. Eventually I just kind of got myself out of one of the most unhealthy relationships that were really the biggest part of my anger problem, if I had one, my small anger problem.
Yeah, I think being unhappy in a relationship is the easiest way to have an anger problem, honestly.
Absolutely, because you're living it every day.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people can relate on that.
It just makes you resent the relationship and the person, and
yeah. And so I got out of that, and so the timeout plan that was really cool though. Again, it's just another self-identifying assignment. But it's really good because before that class, I never thought about physical cues of what makes me, how I know I'm getting angry.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I don't know what that looks like. I didn't actually stop and think about that. Like, what does that look like when I get angry? What happens?
I guess I've thought about mine. I don't know. I analyze things in a weird way.
So yeah, but I don't know. Really helpful, man. It's funny because we started turning. The topic was actually understanding wasted time. And then we went on to anger management, which is cool though. I really like that topic as well. But to bring it back around to wasted time and experiencing failure, I think, yeah, in a nutshell, I just equate wasted time to mainly just not doing anything with that time that you invested in. If you do nothing and you continue to do the same repetitive pattern, rather.
Cocaine, you said about cocaine.
Yeah, definitely don't continue the same repetitive powder. But if you do the same repeated process over and over, you have wasted your time in my books, in my eyes. But yeah, so I guess my message on that topic is like, don't get failure confused with wasted time. A lot of people think that because they've done something and they failed at it, it's like that was a fucking waste of time. That's a negative approach, man. And I've been guilty of thinking that too. But that's such a negative approach. Once you understand that failing at something is actually gaining knowledge and advancing and learning and quote unquote not wasting time really, then a failure is just much easier to go through. You don't look at it like that anymore. You're just like, okay, that was a fucking waste of time. It's not. You're like, that can either be a waste of time, or that can be like, okay, that was definitely a failure. What am I going to do about this now? Like, how am I going to actually make this failure serve a purpose in my life? And that's when it turns into time not wasted.
Yeah.
For me. But, yeah, we're going to talk about, I want to talk about comedians. I was listening to Adam Carolla a little bit. And he had who was it, Judy Gold or someone on there talking about comedians. And comedians have always had it rough, right? But particularly now, and the further life is more progressive and people are getting more and more progressive, I think their jobs are getting even tougher.
Yeah, well, the thing,
they're under a microscope.
People take comedians way too fucking seriously.
Like, my point exactly, like, they're comedians.
Yeah.
That is their job, is to look for things to make fun of and make light of and joke about.
Yeah, I like the comedians who are like, I don't give a shit, get offended.
Me too. I love that. Especially I love raw comedy that, you know, the ones that are like, you know, was that joke too soon type shit. Like, I like that.
I'm trying to think, like Bill Burr, Ricky Gervais. Like,
yeah, just listen to Bill Burr on Joe Rogan's podcast. That was pretty cool.
Bill Burr's fucking hilarious.
Absolutely. He's definitely one of my favorite comedians, man.
He's just too real. Like, honestly,
genius.
Like, he just, he doesn't bullshit about anything, so.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree. But she was talking about, you know, comedians are being censored and, you know, they're regulating freedom of speech, which is fucking ridiculous. And then she also made the statement, you know, if you don't like what a person is saying, you know, change the station, change what you're listening to. Well, you know, I started thinking about that and I was like, where does that, because I think a lot of us agree with that or want to agree with that or like the notion of going with that statement that, you know what I mean, if you don't like what this person has to hear, then don't listen to it. But I think we all have a line that draws, and I don't know how to identify where that line is, because I think there's a point where it's like, okay, you can't say that, you're fucking this, you're fucking that, whether you're racist, you're sexist, you're whatever, you're a monster. Yeah. Like, where does that line draw? Obviously it's subjective to each person, but isn't that funny how that exists? There is a line there, right? Would you say there's a line there that it turns into...
It's definitely different for everyone. I mean, I think a comedian's not really doing their job if they're not offending people, honestly.
I agree.
Because you're just like lukewarm, just playing it
boring.
safe the whole fucking time.
Yeah, you're a people pleaser. Nobody really likes people pleasers. They do on the surface level, but actually,
it's like I'm gonna be like offensive here, but it's like, who's that? It's like for like Christian moms that drives vans and shit. Like, who the fuck is this lukewarm bullshit comedy for? You know what I mean?
yeah, yeah. So I thought, I don't know, because the people that the people that get offensive definitely get ridiculed for it big time. You know what I mean? It's like comedians specifically. It's like, where do we draw that line? How is this comedian getting so much shit when he's a comedian? Like, and again, yes, if you don't like it, then you don't have to tune into it. So, I don't know. Like I said, it's just an interesting thought to me, because although we like the idea of like, you don't have to listen to it if you don't like it, I think subconsciously we have an expectation of what not to say, what can't go under the radar.
Yeah.
So I don't know. We're not real in that regard.
Yeah, it's I don't know, man. Like, kind of just since social media, since the internet has gotten too big.
Yeah. What would a comedian have to say for you to be offended? Anything?
It has to be like hate speech. You know what I mean? It'd have to be like something that's like not really a joke.
Okay, so the only way that can be identified is if they said that, right? Because they're up there doing comedy. So if they said, okay, on a personal, you know what I mean? They'd have to somehow state that, right? For that to be their own personal opinion.
I guess, yeah.
So that's just an assumption someone's making, probably, because most times they're not going to say that. They're not going to say, this is my own personal opinion, so off the comedian record, I whatever, and they project their negativity.
Yeah. I don't know, man. If you're like, if they were to be like, I just think black people are stupid, and then they made a joke about why they think black people, it'd have to be a really fucking funny joke for it to work. You know what I mean?
I see what you're saying.
It'd have to be you know what I mean?
But what if they just, you know what I mean? There's dry comedy too, though. You know what I mean? There's people that are not funny as well, and might say something like that. So you're saying if it's just not funny, the comedy overrides the offensiveness, is what you're saying?
There has to be like a purpose to it. You can't just say things and be like, it was comedy. You know what I mean?
Yeah. What if there's someone who thought it was funny, though? There's just the bad comedian that thought it was funny and said it. You think there's people like out there that are getting flack for that because they thought they said something funny like that, and then it just legitimately wasn't funny, but in their mind they thought it was funny?
I mean, it is subjective, but like if 90% of people are like, that wasn't even a joke, and you're just being an asshole for no fucking reason. I mean, but that's not the case with what we're talking about. You know what I mean? It's like they're legitimately funny jokes, and people are like,
Yeah, we're talking about a couple different things, but yeah, people getting offended of a joke that is actually funny to some people. And we're talking about people reaching for stuff to complain about, and to be offended about.
Yeah.
People are looking to get offended.
And I mean, honestly, the comedians that are, that are doing the things that are worthy of being upset about aren't famous comedians. You know what I mean? There's a reason they're famous, is because they're good. So
yeah. Well, what about the amateur comedian that's just doing the local gigs and they say something highly offensive? You think there's a badge of honor that the experience level, XP level, that they got to hit on their XP bar gauge before they start throwing out an extreme offensive amount of jokes?
The offensive joke there's an element of comedy to it, and it has to be like, you're not expecting the perspective that's going to come from. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's surprisingly funny.
Yeah, it's like, it has to be like, I'm going to say this outrageous statement, but wait, hear me out, and you'll understand what I'm saying at the end. But if you're not like doing it in that way, and it's not actually thought out, and you're just doing that to just say something offensive, then yeah, I mean, you're not going to get famous to begin with, because it's just you're going to be a bad comedian that's just saying asshole things, like I was saying. And that's not the case with fucking Bill Burr and all these other famous comedians. Obviously, they fucking have a lot of substance and they're good at punchlines and they formulate jokes and they don't just say offensive things to say offensive things, you know?
Yeah. I was just wondering though if like some people you know, or what you thought maybe like is there like do you think the amateur comedian versus the experienced comedian might be more susceptible to be getting backlash for their offensive joke?
I don't think so.
You don't think so?
I think it's the opposite. The famous
ones get more.
Yeah, because they're under a fucking microscope, like you're saying.
Yeah.
The fucking guys at the bar, you know what I mean? You can go to Chehalis and make some fucking racist jokes and everyone will laugh their ass off, I'm sure. I've been to a comedy show in Chehalis, okay?
That's funny.
This comedian made this joke about beating his wife or something, and everyone was silent except for Cody, sitting right next to me. We're in a fucking crowd. He starts busting up laughing.
Oh god!
And I started laughing because he was laughing. I was so embarrassed. Everyone in the entire crowd turned and looked directly at him. I started next to him. I'm like, oh my god.
It felt like they were looking at only you.
They weren't, but I mean, they were all in the same direction.
They're like, he's laughing. Don't fucking look at me.
But it was funny because the comedian's like, there's always one. You know what I mean?
So that's hilarious.
But then that made it funny, you know what I mean?
Right.
Because otherwise it wasn't even a funny joke. It was just funny that Cody fucking laughed at it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And he's the only person in the entire fucking crowd that laughed at it.
That's funny in itself, just hearing about that. That's fucking funny.
But yeah, I mean, nobody was on the fucking Twitter fucking complaining about this random guy in fucking Chehalis making a bad joke that wasn't very good.
Right. And then the offensive well, yeah, Chehalis is different too, so
I mean, they have that offensive sign there that they're trying to get taken down and shit, so
yeah. Kind of goes back to what we were just saying. There's some people that think, you know, if you don't like it, don't read it, don't look at it. And then there's some people who are like, well, you shouldn't be projecting negativity like that and making it normalized. So it's like,
it depends on what that's what I was saying. A comedian would have to like actually just do something that's like inciting hatefulness or inciting violence or something like that for me to be like, nah, they shouldn't say that. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? Like, yeah, I just don't think these lynchings are that bad. Hear me out. It's like, that's not really a funny joke, man. You know what I mean? Like, I don't even know how you're gonna put that in a good light, but you probably shouldn't even make that joke, you know?
I mean, that's just as offensive as making 9/11 jokes right after 9/11 happened, right? Like, there's death involved. So it's like...
But, okay, here's the thing with saying, I could see why they did it. I could see why they bombed the towers, you know what I mean? No one's gonna think that's funny, especially in America, you know what I mean? Maybe go to... fucking the Middle East and make that joke, maybe they'll be like, ha ha ha, you know what I mean?
There were people who made 9/11 jokes, is what I'm saying.
Yeah, I don't think they were that joke though.
No, I don't think
endorsing it, you know what I mean? That's what I'm talking about.
I can't remember what the context of the joke delivery was, but I was definitely surprised to hear it, and I was like, oh shit. And I was like, I don't know. It's like, if it's funny, it's funny, but obviously that doesn't... See, that's the thing too. If people laugh at it, I think there's a notion that now we're equating that person to the bad part of it. Like, oh, okay, you condone that shit. You know, you're part of that now. It's like, no, I just appreciate the comedy in it. Like, obviously, there's a completely atrocious act and devastating, very sad story. You know what I mean? Like, it's almost like acting. It's almost like when you're even watching comedy, you're acting also. You're part of this act, almost. And I think how people have, that's how I look at it as. People have a hard time separating that. Like, oh, okay, you're serious about this. Like, no, I'm here to watch a fucking show and not be serious, actually.
Yeah.
So, like, if you want to have a conversation about 9/11 or lynching or something outside of this, we can have a serious conversation about that, and you can get my real thoughts on that, and you can actually understand that I'm a human being, that I'm a decent human being, and I don't advocate any of that shit. But we were in a comedic setting there, so it doesn't, I can separate my mind from those two things and not conjoin them. I think a lot of people have a hard time understanding that.
What, that it's an act?
that it's an act. Not only that the people watching it could also consider themselves being a part of that act. I don't know. Does that even make sense to you?
I don't know if that means people are getting mad at the crowd for the comedian's bad joke, even if they're laughing.
I think some people have a suspicion that they're like you did when you had the vibes, you were getting looked at.
Yeah.
It's the same thing. You know what I mean? Everybody's fucking judging people, like, laughing over there. You know what I mean? It's like, bro, we're in a fucking comedy club.
Dude, the thing is, nobody was judging him. They were all laughing at him.
Oh, okay.
They all turned and laughed at him. Because they're like, this fucking guy, you know what I mean? So it wasn't that serious. They weren't like, sorry, I'm looking in the wrong direction, but they were just like glaring over in our direction.
I think there's some people that think that, though. They're worried about laughing at the wrong thing because they're going to get looked at. You know what I mean? They're taking things too seriously in a comedy setting.
Yeah, I can see that. I laugh if I think something's funny. I don't care what fucking people think.
Yeah, and that's how people should be, and especially a comedy setting. You know what I mean? This is a comedy club. Like, you should put on your laugh face and your laugh mentality and not come in with such a serious mentality. And the victim mentalities are really, in my opinion, not very welcome in a comedy setting. Mm-hmm. It just doesn't mix well. There's no room for it, to be honest.
Yeah, I don't think you should go to a comedy show to get offended. If you have that mindset. But what I would say is, if a comedian is, all I'm saying is, if you make a joke, fine, make a joke. But if you're like saying you endorse fucking terrible things, I think it's pretty hard to put that in a joking manner. But yeah,
that was weird. Hopefully,
you know, if a comedian was on stage like, I approve of 9/11, how are you going to frame that into a joke that people are going to find funny? You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think someone did make some funny. It was funny. I don't remember the context of it now.
Yeah. I'm not saying it can't be done, but I'm just saying it has to be expertly done if you're going to make something that outlandish. You know what I mean? So,
yeah, I think Gilbert Gottfried was one of the ones that did a 9/11 joke.
But is Gilbert Gottfried even funny? That's subjective, obviously.
He has his moments. He's not a very hysterically funny dude.
Yeah.
But he has made a couple funny things, actually. He's surprisingly funny sometimes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was like, whoa, he came up with that? I was like, that was actually funny. And then his annoying voice to top that off. It's like, oh, shit. Makes it even funnier.
I don't think his voice is that annoying short periods of time, but just listening, like, an interview with that fucking guy, it's like, all right, man, you've been talking
or a
to
whole stand-up.
Yeah.
Imagine watching a whole stand-up.
No. No, but I mean, I can listen to him talk for 5 minutes and be like, all right, cool.
Can you imagine hanging out with him? Just like all day.
There was like fucking conspiracy going around that that's not how he actually talks in real life. I mean, that was so funny.
That is funny right there.
Actually, Howard Stern started that conspiracy.
Did he?
Because he played like a fake clip of someone else talking on the phone, like leaving a message for him, and he was like, look it, this is how he actually talks, but it wasn't actually him leaving the message. Because the guy was like, hey man, how's it going, blah blah blah. It was like a totally normal voice. So now there's still people out going around the internet like, that's Gilbert doesn't even talk like that.
Every time I've ever seen him on TV, he talks like that. Mm-hmm. Even like
it'd be pretty hard to put on that voice all the time when every single time you're on camera or being listened to.
Yeah, here's the thing: you can't be phony forever. Yeah. If there's something inconsistent that you're doing, or not even inconsistent, if there's something phony that you're doing, an inconsistency is going to show itself eventually. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, if I like we're like just like move somewhere else and put on a British accent, probably slip into my American accent every once in a while.
At some
like,
point,
wait
right?
a second.
Yeah,
that sounded.
What did you just say there?
I'm like, you guys are getting, you know, your guys' accent is wearing off on me. What's happening? Like, yeah, but you're in Texas, and that was not a Texas accent. Shit, got me.
But yeah, the whole to wrap it up, the victim mentality is increasingly annoying for me. I understand there's things that are definitely offensive and there's things that need to be addressed, but the reaching is really fucking annoying for me.
Yeah,
and just the entitlement, the mentality of being entitled that words are gonna trigger you.
Don't be triggling.
Don't be triggered, yeah. But triggering you to be uncomfortable, that you should always be comfortable. That was another thing she said, which is a very good point. Like, just the mentality that you should always be comfortable and nothing's gonna ever trigger you. It's fucking unrealistic.
Yeah.
Like, you should be prepared for things first, like we were talking about adversity. Be prepared for adversity. Be prepared for shit that's gonna offend you. Be prepared. It's how you respond to all this stuff. Just come to terms that all these things are gonna happen, and then figure out how you're gonna respond to it. That's the only control you have.
You can not like a comedian's joke. Doesn't mean you need to fucking try to get them taken off the air and shit.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. And that goes back to what we were talking about.
Be like,
Don't tune in.
I wasn't a fan of that joke, you know, or like maybe I won't watch that guy anymore. Or whatever.
Exactly.
So.
I mean, that's the beauty of being in US of A, man. Like,
it's like if I watched a TV show, what would I watch, like Walking Dead, and fucking they kill one of the main characters and it was really violent. I'm like, I don't approve of this violence. I'm gonna go and try to get fucking Walking Dead taken off the air. No, I'm like, I don't want to watch that, so I'm gonna watch something else.
right?
Like whatever. But in that same vein, there are people that try to get shit like that taken off the air, off TV and shit too.
That's entitled people.
Mm-hmm.
They're completely entitled. They think they have the entitlement and that they can sway the powers that be to do that. It's like, you know, maybe if they have enough people to complain about this, something will be done about it. And, you know, things do get changed because of people complaining too much, and that feeds that entitlement mentality too.
Yeah, that's literally what's happened over the last decade.
Yeah. Things have been shoved in the leftists' favor so much, and that things have to get fixed just for political reasons. So like, well, there's a lot of people complaining, and I think just for, you know, political purposes, we're gonna have to cancel this or do whatever, you know what I mean?
Things were so much different like 10 years ago. It's so weird to think about.
Yeah.
Last decade's been pretty crazy.
Oh yeah, it's been progressive, as you would say. But it's pretty annoying, dude. I just don't know when that's gonna stop. I think it's gonna get worse and worse. But yeah, I don't really appreciate it. Like I said, I think there's too much time on people's hands, and they're spending it on being offended. So let's put that energies towards something else. Yeah. What else can we talk about in the last few minutes here? Oh, we only got a couple minutes.
Yeah.
So, I'll go with this since we were talking about something relative to this. So being honest about your personal fears and choosing how to react to them accordingly. I think this is good to talk about because we were just talking about choosing how to react towards being offended. And so you can also choose to react a certain way when you're afraid of. First, I think it's very important to identify what you're afraid of. Like, legitimately, I lived my life for so long posturing like, I'm not afraid of that, I shouldn't afraid of it. You know what I mean? That's just a posturing mentality, and it's being unrealistic with yourself, and you're preventing yourself from growing when you do that. When you can clearly identify the shit that scares you. I'm scared of death, I'm scared of my daughter not liking me, I'm scared of, you know, growing old, I'm scared of not being financially successful, like real shit that you're actually afraid of personally. Those are some of my own personal fears, but it's different for everybody. When you identify that shit, that's the first step, I think. Then coming to terms with how your reactions are gonna be to these things that come up. I think that's really good for people, man, to understand that. I don't think any of that's being taught either, and that's been helpful for me. Yeah, especially for, you know, I don't know how you how where posturing masculinity ever fit in your life, but for me personally, posturing masculinity for a majority of my life, and then making that rewiring in my mentality, it's been very beneficial for me.
And we had different things. So you grew up and just kind of did it. You kind of went hard with the posturing masculinity. I grew up not posturing masculinity, but being told basically to posture masculinity every time I didn't posture masculinity.
Peer pressure then?
And not necessarily peer pressure. It'd be like, you know, parental figures and shit. Be like, why are you fucking crying? You know what I mean? Stop being a fucking little girl about it. You know what I mean? It's like, why don't you just fucking care about how I feel, you know?
The masculine expectancies.
Yeah, exactly.
Of the social norm. Yeah.
And I've always fucking hated it.
That's just pressure in general.
Yeah. And I just, I just try not to do it. I mean, obviously I have. I have postured, but I try not to. But I think definitely my teenage years probably the most, though.
Are you pretty aware of what scares you and what you're afraid of?
Yeah.
Like pretty specifically, like you thought about that before?
Yeah.
That's good.
Very afraid, or very aware of my fears. I'm very
Have you thought about how you handle those fears? That's the next step on that? Have you gotten that far on those?
yeah. I mean, because I've been to counseling and stuff. I'm trying to figure out how to get away from my fears or handle my fears so that I can, be productive in my life.
Yeah.
So that's kind of what I think about all the time. So
Yeah. Getting away from your fears, that's definitely a weird statement. I don't know if you can get away from them.
that's why I rephrased it into handling my fears.
Yeah, that's a good point. But yeah, understanding, I don't know, has it been valuable for you?
Yeah. Sorry.
I think it is. I think it's fucking hugely valuable. I think a lot of people don't even, that's not even a thought on their brain. And a lot of that is, especially for posturing people, definitely not a thought in their brain. All they're thinking about is displaying that they're not afraid. So much to the point that we don't even do any self-development on that topic.
I have a hard time pretending to not be afraid. If I'm afraid, I'm really good at just showing it, even if I don't want to.
Yeah. It's funny because the people that try to put fear into me now, I'll just tell them straight up, like exactly where my mind is. I'm like, you're trying to get a reaction out of me by putting fear into me. I'm just letting you know that I don't operate that way, the way you're going to expect. Like, I handle fear much differently than the normal person you're used to dealing with by trying to put this fear on me. I was like, just so you know, you're not getting the reaction that you want out of this. I just handle it much differently.
Yeah.
It's funny because I've said that to the last couple people that have tried to put fear into me. Whether it's going to a court or someone trying to fight me, something like that. I'm like, dude, I just don't operate that way. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not saying I'm not afraid. What I'm telling you is the way I handle this fears a lot differently. So it's not working, dude. Like, so you can just kick back and put that shit on someone else. And let me tell you, that's been liberating, man. Just being able to handle fear the way I want to, and like understanding what's been counterproductive on the way I handled it before, and how productive it's been now the way I handle it. So
Right on.
we can get back into that topic,
Yeah, we should.
because that, honestly, I like talking about shit like that because a lot of us can relate to that fear-based shit, dude.
Yeah.
A lot of things, every decision's made based on fear or love. So once you understand that, you can understand yourself a little bit better. But yeah, we'll pick this back up, dudes. Next Wednesday, we got a guest coming in. I know you might have seen the post already, but Josh Young from a local band called No Living Witness will be here. We're not just going to talk band stuff. The guy's pretty intelligent, and he's got a lot of other things that he wants to discuss. So I have a feeling it's going to be conspiracy talk, maybe psychedelics, maybe some thought-provoking stuff. So yeah, join us Wednesday at 7:00, and yeah, we'll talk about some cool stuff. See what you guys can, what we can come up with, and what we can chat about. So, anything else you got?
Nah.
Where can they find us one last time?
Yep. Check us out on Spotify and Instagram, and then watch our live streams on YouTube, Facebook, and Twitch. And then you can get our updates from Twitter and Instagram.
Nice. Oh, by the way, bruh, I hate my life. Sorry we got to you late, dude. Tune back in again, and we'll catch you on the chat there. So sorry we missed you, man.
We actually only responded like a minute after you said that. So.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
All right, we still weren't fast enough for them, man.
He's
People
like, I
want
want 14 seconds.
People
dude.
want that shit like fast food. They want it quick.
Yeah.
All right, guys, we'll check you on Wednesday with our special guest, and we'll see you then. So until then, keep it viral.
Keep it contagious.
Later.